He didn't just believe he was great. He said it before the world believed it. Before the fame, before the titles, before the cameras followed his every move, he was just a young man with something most people don't have: unshakable belief, not quiet confidence, not hidden potential, loud, undeniable belief. At a time when the world was ready to doubt him, question him, and limit him, he did something unusual. He spoke his future out loud. I am the greatest. People laughed. They thought it was arrogance, ego, delusion. But what they didn't understand was this: he wasn't talking to them. He was programming himself. Because long before you become something, you have to believe it, and not in a soft, uncertain way. In a way that leaves no room for doubt. That was his advantage. He didn't wait for proof. He became the proof. Inside the ring, he moved differently, he fought differently, he thought differently. While others relied only on strength, he relied on mindset, speed, precision, confidence, and most importantly, psychological control. He didn't just fight opponents, he broke them before the fight even started. With words, with presence, with certainty, he would predict rounds, predict knockouts, predict victories, and then he would deliver. Not every time, but enough times to make the world stop laughing. Because slowly, the impossible started becoming real. The man they doubted was becoming exactly who he said he was. But his story wasn't just about winning. It was about standing firm when everything was against him. There came a moment where his beliefs were tested in a way far beyond boxing. He was asked to go to war, and he refused. Not because it was easy, but because it went against everything he stood for, and that decision cost him everything. His titles, his career, his reputation. At the peak of his success, it was all taken away. Most people would have broken. Most people would have stayed silent. But he didn't, because his strength was never just physical. It was internal. Years passed. The world changed. And eventually he returned, not as the same young fighter, but as something stronger, more experienced, more resilient, more dangerous. And when he stepped back into the ring, he faced opponents who were bigger, younger, and stronger. On paper, he wasn't supposed to win. But he understood something deeper than physical power: endurance, strategy, patience, and above all, belief. He absorbed punishment. He stayed calm under pressure. He waited for the moment others would panic. And then he struck. That's what made him different. He didn't just fight hard, he fought smart. And he trusted himself completely. That trust didn't come from talent. It came from repetition, from discipline, from telling himself over and over again who he was until it became reality. Outside the ring, his voice became even louder. Not for attention, but for purpose. He spoke about identity, about standing for something, about refusing to be controlled by fear. And that's where his true legacy was built. Not just as a champion, but as a symbol of confidence, of courage, of self-belief. Because at the end of the day, what made him unforgettable wasn't just his victories, it was the way he saw himself before the world did. And that's the lesson. Most people wait for validation. They wait for results. They wait for someone to tell them they're good enough. But he didn't. He decided first. He believed first. And then he worked until reality caught up with his words. That's why when he said, I am the greatest, it wasn't arrogance. It was identity. And once you truly believe something about yourself at that level, the world eventually has no choice but to believe it too.